And you were also the short yardage fullback. So that is an extensive career. You found your way on the field for all 4 years. And to top that off, you got a national championship out of that. How was that? What was that? What did that feel like?
The national championship was just, a phenomenal experience. For people that don't remember, USC was going for a three-peat. Mm-hmm. They had 2 Heisman trophies, trophy winners on the team at the same time, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, and Reggie had just beat Vince out in December going into that game in January. And so the entire lead up to that game, ESPN had 40 days of commentary on why USC was the best team ever in the history of college football.
Right.
And our coaches wisely had that running on TVs in the locker room, in the training room, weight room, everywhere we went during bowl prep. Mm-hmm. Was just talking heads talking about how great USC was. And, then we went out there and so many points in that game, a 4th and 2 stop, Reggie Bush kind of fumbling on a lateral, a couple of great interceptions and everything that, Vince Young did and a slew of running backs that we had and some great catches by David Thomas, another good friend of mine. I think he had 10 catches in that game. He's a legend as a tight end. So so many good things, but man, when that confetti came down and those, final seconds rolled off the clock, there's a few times in my life where I've experienced a feeling like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was your best memory of that? The way you felt during that time? I mean, not just that night, but just afterwards. I mean, the love, I'm sure the love that Austin showed you guys was just, incredible.
It was a phenomenal experience, for the team, obviously for the city, for the university. And, you leave that night going, hey, whatever happens the rest of my life, something really cool happened today. And Mac Brown in his post-game speech said it so eloquently. He said, do not let this. And this is a guy that was climbing for 20-something years before this to try to win a national championship. And he had this speech prepared for after. And he said, look, don't let this be the greatest day of your life. If that's true, this will be a massive disappointment for me. He said, this is a great day. Don't get me wrong, but there will be better days. There'll be better days for you as fathers, as husbands, as men in the community. And he said, so enjoy this, but don't let this be the highlight of your life. There's so much more to live and so much more to do and so many more important things to accomplish. But I'm so proud of you guys for accomplishing this. And I think that really set the tone for a lot of guys on that team. And, for me, it set the tone for life, but it also set the tone for going into that next season where if you're on a national championship squad, it's hard to get playing time. Yeah. I mean, there are some, whether or not there's guys ahead of you, and then they're recruiting the top guys behind you. And so my mental shift went to how do I start next season? My freshman year, I was playing 15, 20 plays a game, backup nose guard, same kind of my sophomore season, that national championship season. So then it's like, okay, going into my junior season, how do I become a starter? What does that look like? And so that's where my personal focus shifted to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you had enough focus to get you through that year. And then after that, the NFL came knocking and you went on to that. So just share a little bit with that. We're running a little low on time, but if you want to go ahead and share that, and then we'll get into what you're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I could talk for a long time about the NFL experience, but right. At first I would say it started out as a series of disappointments. I was for whatever reason not invited to the combine. They went heavy on defensive ends that year, not defensive tackles. Mm-hmm. So that was frustrating because I was a guy who would have performed well there. I did perform well at my pro day, but just didn't get the chance to go and compete and be seen side by side by all the other defensive tackles in the country. So that was a bit disappointing. Pro day went well. I was an undersized, defensive tackle, 6'2", 285, 290. Mm-hmm. And so, the draft came, my agents were fairly certain I was going to get drafted. I didn't, and ended up getting offers though from 13 different teams as an undrafted free agent, which is pretty rare. Typically when there's that much interest, one of those teams will take a chance and draft you. But they didn't. And so I was kind of forced to decide in a 1 hour period where I was going to go amongst those 13 teams, and decided for several factors to go to Kansas City, and loved my time there. I was kind of got into training camp and impressed some folks. Didn't make the team initially. Stayed on the practice squad for the first part of that season. Played on the active roster the second part of that season, and then stayed with them over the off season. My second season going in, had a phenomenal training camp going, and then ended up getting injured the last preseason game. They sent me home for. I know that was a pulled calf. It was just terrible timing. Not a terrible injury, but bad timing.
Yeah.
Went home for a while in rehab, and then came back and played a couple games the end of my second season, and then after training camp my third season, they decided that they were going to go another direction, and I didn't ever really retire from the NFL. Just nobody ever called again. That was kind of the end of that.
Oh yeah. Well, that was an experience for you. I mean, coming from a small town and doing the things that you did, that was definitely an experience for you.
It really was, and that's kind of the more dry side of the story that I just gave. But the 4 days that I ran out there in active games and played in the National Football League were obviously for the best days of my life. It's something I look back on, with a lot of joy and a lot of pride. And then, there's also a lot of things that I look back on and not regret, but there's things that could have gone differently. Right. I mean, and that's what all athletes, I think, that are listening should think about is you can give your best. And sometimes there's unlucky breaks. Sometimes you pull your calf in the last preseason game, but it's not what happens to you. It's how you respond to it. That's what I did. Give us a call. And so I did, and I've been doing that for 14 years now. And now I lead a team of just extremely talented people that go out and work with executives all over the world. So it's been a really fun ride.
All right. So have you traveled into some of those locations as well?
We've had some really fun trips. Been to Dubai five or six times. Istanbul, all over Europe. Excuse me, Europe, South America. So we've had some really fun projects that have enabled me to kind of get out and see the world, and it's been a really fun journey. Yeah,
well, that sounds like it. I mean, that's not a lot of people get to make those trips like that, and especially if you're working and having fun. That is a good experience for you also. So we are about out of time, and I just want to thank you for coming on, Derek. I really appreciate it. I know it was a little bit of trouble getting scheduled and everything. You were out of town actually for a little while, so we had to get this scheduled a little bit earlier. So I thank you for coming on and sharing everything that you shared, and hopefully our listeners will get something out of this and be able to take it on for themselves.
No, absolutely, Tony. I appreciate you getting this set up, and anything I can do for young aspiring athletes, whether it be in the Denton area or DFW or broader, I'm happy to do it. So appreciate what you guys are doing.
All right, man. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, Tony.
All right, you're welcome.
All right. That concludes my interview with Derek, a wonderful guest. Lots of info and insight for y'all. So don't forget to check out Britt's Kicks. Get you a pair made for you. Show them to me and let me see what you got. The IG is in the description. And once again, all I can say is go Wildcats.